Aston Martin. Is it Aston Martin or Austin Powers? You alright, Rich?
Fishing in a minute.
Yeah? Is that yours?
Yes, yeah, do you like it?
Is that not a Lou's wedding present?
Sorry?
Is that not Lou's wedding present?
No, it's my wedding present from Louise.
Hey, nice one, mate. You're looking very sharp this morning,
Thank
mate.
you very much indeed. I'm just going to go and park up. Is that
Yeah?
right?
Was it a special day today or something?
Yeah. Wedding today.
Oh,
Married
Christ.
to the beautiful Louise. I love you, Lou.
Oh, that's nice. I'd no idea. I would have dressed up had I known.
Some beers in.
Alright.
Look in here.
Come on.
Pretty good. Okay, guys, I think we better go in.
You alright, Mum?
Ready? Quick ways. Right, I'm going to grab
Nearly happening, yeah?
Very nearly.
1 more minute to go.
Gotta go to the toilet.
Alright. Best man. 2 more best men. Yeah, we've got a few more minutes left.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Would you all please be seated? An ancient and traditional way of sealing a contract, like the one you've just witnessed, mark their wedding in this way. Now, our best man is Richard. Would you join us, please, Richard? Can I ask you first? Can I ask you to present to Richard Louise's ring? Thank you, Richard. That's sensible. Now, can I ask you both to turn to face each other? Richard, would you now place the ring on the third finger of Louise's left hand?
Mark Corwood. You loser.
If you would hold her by the hand as you now make to her the promise that you have chosen. You would say, Louise, I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage and as a lasting reminder of the promises we've made here today. Louise, if you would now say to Richard, Richard, I receive this ring as a symbol of our marriage and as a lasting reminder of the promises we've made here today. So, Richard and Louise, you have now made all those declarations that are required by the law of this country, and you have made a solemn and binding contract with each other in the presence of your guests here today. May they have many, many happy years. Right, I'm going to ask you both to come round this side of the table for the signing of the lips. If you want to take pictures while they sign, don't be shy. Could you set your hand a minute? Could you set your hand up? Yes, you want to come forward, please. Come down.
Who are you? Chris.
Stop it.
Chris, is that your new partner next to you? It's not bad, is it? Was he from Holland or somewhere, yeah? Careful what you're signing, Richard.
Louise, can we have a picture, please? That was a classic look on the face, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh my god.
Rich, that's half of everything, mate, if it goes wrong.
Start what?
It's half of everything now.
Yeah, half a day.
Oh, that's all right then. Stop! What are you doing?
Excellent.
First witness, Neil, please.
Hey, Rich. Right.
There you have it.
Steve, stop pretending you've got an attractive girlfriend for once in your life.
Cheers, mate. Love you too.
Just come over here, there's our good. Now why don't you two cuddle up quite close, because I think these people are going to go pretty bananas. Confetti throwers, come in closer, surround your bride and groom. Much closer, you won't get crackers. Come in closer. Oh, this one, she looks wicked, this one. Oh, there's another wicked one. Now, confetti throwers, when we say go, one's at the back, bosh. One's at the side, whoosh. And if you've got any left after that and you want to attack Richard, it's at your discretion.
You've seen what happened in UK. I'm going to buy
Are you ready, confetti throwers? Yeah. On your marks, get set, go! Attack at
Can we finish this off?
Go on, Mum, go for it.
Come out of the way, you boys.
I'm not hoovering it up.
Come out of the way.
Got a pair of tweezers.
And what a lovely day.
Hey, mate.
Stick that
So you must be very proud.
That's
The original. You must be very proud.
it's coming round. Hey! 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 Anna! The beauty here. How you doing, right? Good. Yeah, I'm fine. Any little words for Ricky? Getting married? Any words for Richard getting married?
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, he's going to need it, yes.
I'm sure it's going to be fun.
Good, good.
We have a little Swedish mermaid.
Oh! Did you see that? It's been pierced. Tongue's been pierced.
Yeah, go on, give it the tongue on the camera.
Already done it. One more. Oh, very nice.
Camera likes that one.
Look at that. That'll knock all your teeth out. Little Marky Mark. Little gay Dutch porn star there. Marcus, for sure. Marcus Van Porn.
Mark's looking a bit rough, actually. Rough and ready today, isn't he?
Yeah.
Rough and ready.
I think it's really nice. Yeah. Very good. Little word for Stan?
No, not really.
No, not at the moment.
Should have been me. I've got a little word for staying at 6.
Yeah, make Louise really jealous though, because what?
I'm actually waiting for Stan to come up to me and thank me for bringing this surprise guest to the wedding.
He will. Don't worry.
Louise wasn't too impressed. She was so tapping.
Hello, who's this?
Hello. Hello.
How are you?
Hello, Joe.
Some puppies for sale. I have the one with the red nose. And oh look, he's in. He's in. One of the best men. Whee! Stevie. All right. Come on, let's whip him up into a frenzy. Word for Richard and Louise? Don't put me on the spot. Later on, yeah? Think of something useful to say later, yeah? Who's that with a hat on? Oh, God. Hold on. Big Jim. Laughing about something there. Yeah. Big Jim and the greengrocer.
Laugh.
Oh. Everyone enjoying themselves at Richard's wedding.
No, mate.
We'll fade out at this point, I think.
She's my girlfriend at Lily.
No.
I don't know, talk about it.
We'll see you a bit later.
All lakes, all fishing lakes. That's what red mark.
Claire, where are we sitting?
Sitting on the Lungfield.
And who's sitting there? Why is that?
Ashley.
Claire McCarthy, ADP, Don Millett, Jenny Barley, The Cod, Lyndon Povey, Silver Fox, Sky Kavanagh. Easy, love.
The hook lane. Right, we're over here, aren't we? No, that's Longfield.
Where's Big Jim West?
Big Tim West.
Tim West.
Oh, there you go. Who's cute? I don't know. I've no idea, mate.
From the Bond films.
Right, let's go sit down, yeah? Yeah, let's do it. Whee! Hello, mate. You having trouble with that? You are? Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and cut the cake, Lou, Richard.
My moment.
Nervous and uncertain about making this speech, and I asked my son Michael what his thoughts were. His suggestions were that I should have several drinks beforehand, and so that I could not see any of the faces looking at me. That if I was going to use notes, I should number the pages. because at my age I was sure to drop them. And that I should include some pauses for dramatic effect. When I first met Richard, I took one look at his muscular physique. I thought, I better not have any misunderstandings. I soon learned that he was a keen fisherman, and the only thing I knew about fishermen was from a car sticker which said, "Fishermen do it at night." However, over the years that I've known Richard, and his partner Louise, and we found him, among other things, to be amiable, amusing, and thankfully I cannot call a crossword between us. But there is one aspect which I would fully endear him to the Allen family forever. He supports the arts. It remains to be seen who is the first one to be able to shout, "Wake your ideas up in a moto," in Japanese. And I would like to give Richard this so that there's no unfair advantages taken.
Japanese phrase book. We've got a Japanese player at Arsenal for anyone that doesn't support. Cheers, Dad.
Louise and Richard, being of the younger generation, have followed the now common custom of trouble. I did have some suspicion that Louise's decision had been made in order to get away from the stuffy parents, but I soon dismissed this. They are an example of two sensible people who decided to live together because they wanted to be sure that a marriage between them, if entered into, would be a happy one. I had doubts they were ever going to tie the knot. And I'm sure you know that Richard has been keen for some time for this day to happen, and that it's been Louise who's been dragging her heels. So Richard has passed a long trial with a fish, and we are very happy to officially welcome him into our family. And I think Louise is a very lucky chap to have Richard as a husband. Very lucky. Needless to say, we think Richard is very lucky to have Louise.
Big chubby Jim drinking his beer again.
I won't try to embarrass her by listing all her qualities. But once then,
Shrubby.
which is her resourcefulness. She has always managed to persuade Bobby to show her skills as a tailoress by purchasing most of her clothes of a different size to her fit and relying on her mother to make the necessary alterations. I'm convinced, therefore, that although Richard doesn't know, it won't be long before he's converted as an enthusiast DIY. I understand that this resourcefulness was also apparent to her recent employer, who at various times have found her buying socks for singer-songwriter Peter Gabriel, looking after violinist Nigel Kennedy, Bulldog, and on a number of occasions coordinating house moving for singer Chrissie Hynde. Louise can also be unconventional. Perhaps this is why we are here today in a hotel rather than a church. We are here on a Friday, and that we already have a wonderful grandson. It may be obvious to you that Bobby and I, with some 53 years, and Margaret and Don with some 34 years, are great supporters of marriage. However, we know that it takes a lot of working at and never should know the secret for making it last. While I was pondering on this and thinking of a finishing paragraph in my speech, my granddaughter Gemma happened to point out a passage from a book she was reading for her A-levels, Captain Corelli's Mandarins by Louis Tavernier. In this book, he talks of the difference of being in love and love. That when two trees are living close together, being in love is like spring blossom on those trees. However, with time, that blossom will fall. Love, on the other hand, is growing together and entwining of tree roots underground which is not seen. And these roots become one and are there to support trees through thick and thin. Very appropriate, I think, and I'm sure I can speak on behalf of us all in wishing that Louise and Richard's roots grow strong and become fully entwined over many years. I now ask you to be upstanding and drink a toast for the lifetime of good health and happiness for the bride and groom and Jake.
Sayonara, Jim John, Pinkham Chong. Thank you. No, seriously. I was just looking at Al's notes. I don't know if you can see these. It's tiny little writing, right? You can probably read that in the back, can't you? I sort of typed this up thinking that I'd learn it, but Johnny took me out for a beer last night and I didn't really quite get the chance to learn. So I'm going to have to occasionally glance down at the notes. First of all, I'd like to thank Al for the kind words there. I'm honoured to be officially a part of the family, and as Al quite rightly said, it was not so much my doing that took so long as opposed to Louise's. I'd also like to thank, as Al did, each and every one of you for coming. There are certain people here today that came a hell of a long way. In actual fact, we've now got 3 people here. One person is a total surprise to us. 2 via Sweden. That's Anna and Penella. If you could just show your hands there. But Quinton has made the journey all the way from Perth in Australia to be here today. He's literally here for 2 nights. Now, the fact that he's actually a Kiwi and living in Australia, you might think, how do I know him? Well, in actual fact, he worked for me as a labourer on a building site back in London quite a few years ago, and we grew quite a good friendship together. And he would often, during his travels through Europe, just turn up on my doorstep expecting to crash down for a couple of weeks, and that's exactly what he did. Unfortunately, last year he was able to return the favour to us when Louise and I turned up unannounced on his doorstep in Perth. But just for making the effort to get here, I have got a little I've got a little prize, a little present for Quinton, which I'd like him to come up and receive now. That's right. He's going to love this. You're not going to believe this, mate. Read what is on that broom.
Hard-working Kiwis only. So. Immobile in the hands of a pong.
Now, if you read his face, what does it say there?
Never been used.
Waiting. Watkins, loving and controlled by a Q-Man, 1993.
This was his actual broom. It's your broom. Quinton, if you could just stay behind afterwards and have a little sweep round here when everyone's there.
That won't work for you, these
I'm going to try and keep the speech as brief as possible, but if you... but I just make sure that everyone's glasses are charged, because I have got a few speeches to make, a few toasts to make, I'm sorry. And the first, if everyone can just be upstanding and toast absent friends and loved ones who unfortunately can't be with us here today. So it's to absent friends and loved ones. Thank you. We'll sit down again now, thank you. Stand, sit. Now the second toast today actually goes to two particular people who actually helped us get to this stage here. Now the first is to one of our best men, Ian, over there. Looks quite shocked, doesn't quite know why I'm saying this. And the other one is to Sarah Sharma. Now where's Sarah? Now Sarah, who's just put her hand up over there, is probably the main reason that Louise and I are here today. As many of you will probably know, Louise and I started seeing each other 15 years ago, but it was actually a blind date. I'd heard about this beautiful girl, managed to get her phone number, and fortunately Sarah was doing all the background work, putting in a good word for me. And I was making phone call after phone call, asking her out, and kept getting refused, and Ian was the one there, basically picking me up, dusting me down, saying, keep going for it, lending me the 10p for the next phone call. So, basically, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the pair of them. Like I say, Ian giving me the sort of shoulder to cry on, and Sarah doing all the hard work in the background. So I'd just like to, if everyone could just raise their glasses in a toast to Ian and Sarah. Incidentally, just a strange coincidence really about Ian and Sarah. They were both the first people to welcome Jake into the world. Sarah was actually there doing the hard work, even harder than... In actual fact, I believe that, other than the midwife, Sarah was probably the first person to see Jake, because I wasn't looking anywhere near that. Nothing at all. And Sarah was there mopping our brows, spraying the water and doing whatever else. And Ian just happened to be wandering the corridors of the hospital when I was making the all-important phone calls. So, strangely enough, as both they played a part in us getting together, they were both there to welcome Jake into the world. Anyway, myself and Louise, we'd also like to just take this opportunity to say thank you very much indeed to our wonderful bridesmaids, Gemma, Ella and Eva. And I can hear the two girls down right at the very back. Ella. Ella. And they've gone running into the bar, who can blame them? I was actually going to say, so if they'd actually like to come over here, we have got a little something for them, but I'm a bit stuck. Gemma, would you like to come up and accept the presents? And I don't know if perhaps Joe and Joe would like to come up and accept the presents on behalf of the bride. Joe and Joe being the mothers. Gemma, thank you very much indeed. You've got a few words? I'm sure you'll agree that they all look absolutely wonderful and did a terrific job for us. And just because I need another sip of champagne, if we can congratulate those to the bridesmaids. I'd now like to move on to four of the most important people in the room. And Owen, that's not the bar staff. It is in fact our parents, without whom none of this would have been possible. Obviously, mainly because we wouldn't have actually been here, but from a financial, and organisation of the wedding, they've been absolutely brilliant. And I'll admit that all four of them have done absolutely far more towards the wedding than I have. I mean, I literally just turned up. I was told 12, not difficult as I've just heard here from my new wife. But they've spent hours sewing and organising and doing whatever's happened. I don't even know, I wasn't around. So if you would all first of all like to put your hands together for Lou's parents, Bobby and Al, and for my parents, Margaret and John. And as is tradition, we do have a little something here for the mothers, which Louise will sort out. Oh.
Oh, thank you very much.
So thank you. So if we can just once again raise our glasses and toast to the parents at time. The parents! Sorry, and to my dad and now. We didn't buy them anything, what can you say? They share the flowers. My final toast of the day is quite obviously to my beautiful wife Louise. She showed her intelligence today by marrying me. She is beautiful, and not just that, but she's given me a beautiful boy in Jake, and I do love her to pieces. And anyone that knows me by the nickname of Stan, you're now more than welcome to call the new Mrs. Stanbury Stan as well. So cards now, dear Stan and Stan, that's fine. Just one quick thing, I think most of you will know that there's a little guest book going around, so if you can take the trouble to sign that, we'd appreciate it. I'm going to hand you over to the best men, but before I do, I'll just tell you a very little bit about them. Richard sat here, and Neil, nearest to me, I've known them since quite literally as long as I can remember. Ian I've probably known for getting on for 20 years, and we've spent many a time fishing on the banks of lakes after carp, and I think it's enhanced our friendship. It's been further enhanced by the fact that all four of us are actually parents, and I think that's brought us perhaps even closer together. More importantly, we've never actually had anything bad to say about each other. We've never considered doing anything to embarrass each other. For example, let's say during a best man speech or something of that nature. So I don't know who I'm handing over to. I think it's Neil. So if you'd just put your hands together for Neil. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just got to find my notes. Bear with me 1 minute. What have we got here? I did, believe it or not, have this reasonably rehearsed. Never polished, but I had half an idea what I was going to do. Right, here we go. So, Richard and Louise, finally married. 15 bloody years this has taken, isn't it? 15 years. Most people stop having sex after 3 years. How the bloody hell do you explain Jake? Poor little bugger. Anyway, first I thought this would be a nice easy step into the speech, just to read something from a script which is not written by myself. It's actually taken from a 1950s high school home economics textbook. It's got all the sort of period sexist overtones and that sort of thing. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it'll give you a rough insight as to how life used to be for men. Have dinner ready. Plan ahead. Even the night before, to have a delicious meal on time. This is a way of letting him know that you have been thinking of him and that you are concerned about his needs. Most men are hungry when they come home, and the prospect of a good meal is part of the warm welcome needed. Prepare yourself. Take 15 minutes to rest, and make sure that you're refreshed when he arrives. Touch up your makeup. Put a ribbon in your hair, and be fresh looking. He's just been... Louise, he's just had a long day at work, and he spent a day of work-weary people. Be a little gay. Be a little more interesting. His boring day might need a lift too. Minimise all noise. At the time of his arrival, eliminate all noise of the washer-dryer, dishwasher or vacuum cleaner. Try to encourage the children to be quiet. Be happy to see him. Greet him with a smile and be glad to see him. Some don'ts. These are some of the definite don'ts. Don't greet him with problems or complaints. Don't complain if he's late for dinner. Count this as a minor compared to what he might have gone through that day. Make him comfortable. Have him sit back in a comfortable chair or suggest he lie down in the bedroom. Have a cool or warm drink waiting for him. Arrange his pillow and offer to take off his shoes. And so it goes on. Just so that Lou doesn't actually escape from the boundaries of that, we've actually Got a little frame version of that for you to put up. You put it on the front door. You won't forget that. Right, I didn't really know how to tackle the speech with Richard because there's so much to say about him. Quite an interesting chap. There's a few things that I wasn't allowed to say, so in fact a hell of a lot I wasn't allowed to say. But this is what I came up with. I'm just going to have to move these flowers aside. Where's my bloody pens? Where are they? Here we go. Right, for those at the back, the writing may look a little bit small here, but I'll sort of talk you through it. B. This stands for brotherly love. I've never seen two brothers get on so well. Sharing everything, absolute admiration for each other, like two Siamese twins joined at the hip. Very surprised to see Christopher here at all, actually. I know that now it's become a tradition on a Sunday that Margaret and Don will not even let them eat at the same time. And Margaret, as a result of this, has had to cook 2 dinners every Sunday for the last few months or years or whatever it might be. A. A is for active, or in Stan's case, hyperactive. The reason why he's had no success in fishing in the last 3 or 4 years is because as soon as a cockerel crows, he's out of his bivouac, running down a shop, getting breakfast, buying and used papers, polishing shoes, taking bloody photographs, whatever you like, he just does not stop. So, for Louise, basically I've got this little present for Louise, for when Richard's away, that she can look at this little toy here and think of him. That sounds good. Yeah. That's Richard fishing. Okay, moving on. I've lost my pen again. L. L is for lucky, and I mean bloody lucky. There's a million examples I could give of this, but the first one, or one of the obvious ones that springs to mind, one day I was driving to the gym. We used to go to this gym in Hoddesdon. 41 miles an hour I was doing in a 30. I've never considered myself as a dodgy driver, very, very sensible person. Get pulled over by the old policeman with a hairdryer thing. Sorry, mister. Oh, you caught me on the wrong day. If you was doing 40, I would have let you off, but since you're doing 41. It must have been no more than 2 days later, along the same sort of stretch of road, Richard, in his bloody Mondeo, like a barrel of hell tearing along, 65 miles an hour, gets pulled over by the copper. He had his fishing gear in the back. So happens the copper's a fisherman, starts talking to him. I might be wrong here, but I've got a feeling he ended up going to his house for dinner afterwards. Ridiculous luck. D. D is for diplomat. Very good diplomat, easygoing person, as long as he gets his own way. Just another example off the top of my head, Richard almost spent his stag do in Cyprus by himself. If I ain't going to Cyprus, I don't want a stag do. Would you believe it? I. Incredible appetite. Again, relating back to the fishing side of things, me and Richard one day down Hook Lake, we must have eaten we had a barbecue, we had 3 or 4 chicken breasts each, burgers, sausages, bacon, steaks, everything you can possibly think of, washed down by about 10 beers. About half hour after finishing, Louise turns up. Oh, don't forget we're going out for a meal with Claire and Adam tonight. Alarm bells rang, I could see the panic on his face. Obviously after stay fishing, he reeled in his rods and off he went to the restaurant. I didn't know what happened that night, but he told me the following day that he managed to actually eat his whole dinner, and the only way he could stop this food from actually coming out of his mouth was to wind his seat back in his car, so it was like that. So he reckoned if he actually sat up a tiny bit, the food would have come out. I don't know how true that is, but that's Richard's sort of behaviour. Right. Don't know if you can see that at the back, but is the next thing there. That's for Nigel Mansell driving. I have never in my life had more of a white knuckle ride than every time I get in the car with this maniac. He has his seat bolt upright, so his face is about an inch from the bloody windscreen, like a savage, spitting, cursing. I was in a car one day, I was in a car with him one day, and this little Metro pulls out in front of me. Probably going about 25 miles an hour, good sensible driver. Suddenly we come across like a T-junction, this car turns a right. Bad mistake, didn't use the indicators. Where's your bloody indicators? Don't they put indicators on Rovers? I was panicking again. I wound my seat back so this person couldn't see my face. It was a 90-year-old woman, for Christ's sake. No regard whatsoever. G. G is for generous. This is one thing I must say for Richard. I've got to do the soft bit at the end of the speech. The most generous person I know. Very, very generous. Always feeds me, gives me all my fishing tackle, loads of stuff. An absolute cracking chap. Hope I haven't offended you too much. What? Oh, that spells something, doesn't it? Sorry, I didn't notice that. I think that's it, really. Just to say thank you very much for Don, Margaret, Louise's mum and dad, everyone else here. Have a lovely evening and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello. Right, I know a few of you, and I've known Stan for 20 years. And, well, the first time I ever see him, I suppose, everybody else is fishing on the lake, camouflaged, all and everything else up. Across the other side of the lake, there's this idiot, Union Jack sleeping bag. I won't give you two guesses who that was. You know what I mean? Like a sore thumb sticking out, wouldn't it? Eh? Well, Stan touched on something that I was going to say, that it was like down to us that him and Lou are together, and we're all here today because he kept, what was the word, didn't know whether to give up or not on Lou, and phoning her and all that, but luckily he carried on. But another time I actually nearly killed him. And I don't know if you remember that day. So I was working on another friend's car, and he wanted his brakes done on his car, because I'm a mechanic, and I said, I can't do it, like this. No time, like. He says, come on, I need them done. So I said, right. I said, will you bring it round? Get it all ready with my other mate, and I'll slap the brakes in, and off you go, you do the rest, and I'll carry on. So that's what happened. But unbeknown, you know, I forgot to pump the brakes up. So Stan goes herring off down the road like his Nigel Mansell thing. There's a T-junction, well, not a T-junction, it's like on a bend where my mate used to live. Well, it's like straight round, there's a lot of bend, and we come out this bend. Well, it was a car coming the other way, straight down. Stan hits the brakes. Oh dear, no brakes. He just managed to swerve around his car apparently. He was 30 seconds later, he was trying to kill me. But, you know what I mean, so, but unfortunately he's still here to this day. But, and what else is there to say? Maxwell's. Will I say that? There's a few of us, Steve will bear witness to this. We used to go to Maxwell's on a Saturday night, and Stan always used to pay. Come on. And we could never understand why. He always took out. No, Chris, is this made up?
No, this is exactly right.
I'll tell you.
He charged me.
I'll tell you. And like, we never could understand why he always paid. We always used to give him the cash, whatever it worked out, yeah, cash, and he paid by cheque or card or whatever. And one day we was going home in a car light, and we added up how much all of us gave, and it come to more than a bill. And that was without Stan's putting in, like, you know. So he was having 3 meals on everything, on us. You know. And like, so the next week, our mate Steve, he put the card in and said, I'll pay by card. You should have seen Stan's face because he had no money. And we caught him out. So, what else is there? Lechler. We used to go fishing to a lake in Gloucester. On weekends we used to travel down on a Friday night, and we was gone in the pub straight away, had a couple of pints. Well, at the end of the night, we was both paralytic. Walked outside. Who's driving? Oh, I'm not. No, you are. So anyway, in the end, I ended up driving and nearly crashed the car. Yes, a company car. Is it? But we've had good times. And that's it. But I don't know what else to say. I'm mumbling along. Huh? He looks lovely. You know, I mean, he's been a good mate, and the biggest ponce I've ever met. But, you know, he's always after something for nothing, but he was always there when you want him. So, well, just like to say, put your hands together for Richard and Lou.
Louis Stangram, what have you done? You guys must be getting pretty weary of speeches by now, so I'm going to keep this one pretty brief. I've jotted down a couple of notes, so if you'll allow my indulgence. No, they're the wrong ones. Thank goodness for that. Right, I've known Richard for about 25 years now, and last night I sat down to prepare myself for this speech, and I had a blank piece of paper in front of me, and a pen, and my brain, and would you believe it, I couldn't think of a damn thing to say about him. So that's it. Thank you very much. Hold on, you don't get off that lightly. Right, so what have we got here? Right, I enjoyed Neil's speech greatly actually. I thought it was very clever idea. And I'm not really in much of a position to comment on Stan's follicle disadvantages. But I have got some words of wisdom for him. And they go something like this. A man who is balding at the front of his head is a great thinker. A man who is balding at the back of his head is a great lover. But Don, I'm afraid, a man who is balding at the back and the front just thinks he's a great lover. Yes, and me. I suppose no reference has been made to Richard's drinking capacity, so or the lack of it. So I've got just a couple of very quick anecdotes, if you'll bear with me. We used to drink quite regularly up a local pub in Potter's Bar, and we'd walk through the park on our way home, and quite often I'd say, right, good night Rich, I'll see you tomorrow, if we were going fishing or whatever, and I'd leave him and he'd make his way into his house. This particular night, as usual, right, good night Rich, I'll see you tomorrow, we'll go fishing about midday or whatever, and I wandered off 10-15 yards down the road, and I looked back and Richard was twiddling with his front door key against the lamppost. So I said, excuse me Richard, but I don't think anybody's in. He said, well there must be, because the light's on upstairs. Then there was a time when we were coming home from the Checkers pub in Potter's Bar, and we decided to take a shortcut across a farmer's field. And we'd got about halfway across this field and we came across this huge hole in the ground. And being inquisitive sort of chaps that we are, kind of thought, blimey, you know, how deep's this hole? So I scuffed with my foot and I picked up a stone and I threw it down there, and we both listened carefully for the stone to splash into the water. Couldn't hear a thing. So Richard kicked around with his foot and he came up with half a house brick. And he threw that down the hole. And again we both leant over and we listened intently and couldn't hear a thing. And I said, "Hey, Rich, look up there, there's a great big railway sleeper. A huge thing like that's bound to make some sort of noise." So we got either end of it and we lugged it over to this hole, and I tell you, it's damn heavy as well. And we just about eased it over the edge of this hole and we dropped it in and we both leant over listening, and instantly we could hear a pounding of feet on the ground behind us.
Look round, and there's a raging goat, the sharpest horns you've ever seen, charging towards us. Being quick-thinking sort of chaps that we are, we quickly jumped over the other side of the hole, and the goat disappeared down the hole. Bloody hell, did you see that? We was obviously a bit worried by this. You know, this hole's like pretty dangerous and that. So we kind of figured, well, let's find the farmer who owns this field and warn him about it. So we walked to the end of the field, we found the farmhouse, we knocked on the door. We obviously didn't want to own up to killing his goat. So he said, you know, excuse me, farmer, but we've just been walking through your field and, you know, there's this hole terribly deep, looks extremely dangerous, you know, if young kids go in there or whatever, it could end in disaster. So the farmer said, oh no children will go in there. I've put a terribly angry goat in there with sharp horns that will ward everybody off. Not wanting to give the game away, I said, well, you know, what's to stop the goat from falling down the hole? He said, oh, he won't fall down the hole. I've tied him off onto a great big piece of railway sleeper. And that's absolutely true. Anyway, I think normally it's tradition to read out one or two cards from people who couldn't make it today. I haven't actually been given any cards, but I was passed a tape earlier on, and I've been asked to play this tape. I haven't actually listened to it myself, so I'm really, you know, putting my neck out on the line, but we managed to organise a tape recorder, so I'm not entirely sure what's on here, but we'll give it a go. Has somebody rigged this?
Oh, and I know that it's not too late to change your mind. You've only got to tell her.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. That's something entirely different. Not too sure. Neil? Neil, do you know anything about this tape? Right, okay. Well, I'll give it another go. I'm blaming Neil because I really don't know what's on this tape, but he assures me that it's quite safe.
I just wanted to say that I'm just so used to putting that old nonsense behind us in the past, but really have changed. But I offer my very, very best wishes to the pair of you. There's one thing I must ask is, why do you do it? Even little Robbie wants to kill ya! What the hell's that?
Right, sorry about it, I'm not entirely completely sure what that was all about. Down to the last two cards, guys, so don't worry, we're nearly there. I thought I'd ask Louise, I thought I'd ask Richard first of all what he most loved about Louise. And he said it was her loving, caring attitude towards him. And I said, well, have you got an example of this? And he said, yes. We were on holiday in Cyprus a few years ago. And we had to interrupt the holiday to go to the dentist. And Louise said to the dentist, I've got to have a tooth pulled out. And I don't want any anaesthetic because I'm in a hurry. Just extract the tooth as quickly as possible. Now, obviously, the dentist was quite impressed. You're a brave woman. Which tooth is it? So Louise leant over to Richard and said, come on, show the man. Of course, I had to ask Louise what she loved the most about Richard. And it had to be his helpful house husband skills around the house. Now, I just happened to have found here some instructions that Stan has written himself. The definition of outdoor barbecuing. This is the only type of cooking real men like Stan will do. When he volunteers to do such cooking, the following chain of events is put into action. She goes to the store. She fixes the salad, vegetables and dessert. She prepares the meats for cooking, places it on a tray along with the necessary cooking utensils and takes it to Stan, who is lounging beside the grill, drinking beer. He places the meat on the grill. She goes inside to set the table and check the vegetables. She comes out to tell Stan that the meat is burning. He takes the meat off the grill and hands it to her. She prepares the plates and brings them to the table. After eating, she clears the table and does the dishes. Stan asks her how she enjoyed her night off. And upon seeing her annoyed reaction, concludes that there is no pleasing some women. I don't know whether you applauded because I just finished that joke or you saw me throw the last card away. But that is just about all I have to say, and I presume that closes the speeches for today. Thank you very much.
Floating me, let's put it in the bar.
You can't blow this up.
Hello, what's your name?
Yeah. I'm used to them.
Let's get some of these fucking blown.
Put them on by your mouth.
I'm feeling a bit dizzy This is never forgiven itself.
Simon's pulled. It's the critical.
Breaking.
Broken.
You're not supposed to blow it up. You're supposed to fill it up with cream or something.
I thought you were blowing up, man. You said it was going.
Simon, you've got to blow some.
Baby.
Can't, mate. Give me a headache. Come on, Jim. You're a big fat boy. Keep blowing. You know I don't mean it. You know that.
That's too small.
I bet you say that all the time when you're in Steve's room, don't you, Anna?
So you just need a big one.
Yeah.
I don't know, are you kidding?
I never kid. Stop! This bride is not ready! She needs a little bit of life.
Lady, no one don't chew. You've got no holes in them.
Hey, you!
Blue tack like that. We've got a big banner.
Have you got sellotape?
Michelle, have you got the consultation good?
Are those only made for short people or what?
No, they're meant for people like you, Anna.
Well, look at this guy.
Yeah, right.
Really?
That's alright.
He just got a balloon.
Yeah, but if he squatted between your legs or he jumped on top of you, you wouldn't know any different, would you? See you later.
There's a little blue bag somewhere with some confetti in it.
You see it? No.
Okay.
Alright. 2-2, is that okay? Or no, that might be too early. 3-2.
Anna, where's that little bag?
No, 2-2.
Little blue Argos bag.
Sorry? You have one set for free.
Blue Argos bag. Come on, chaps.
These babies sleep forever, don't they?
Well, you had it.
Poor carriage is going to sit here and all night and the balloons just
Yeah.
bang. That'd do. Confetti in the bed.
Alright. What do you want sellotape for?
Ada, you are wicked. That's itching powder.
I thought you were only going to put it at the feet.
Nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything.
Alright, what up with this? See what you're on there.
I think we should put them on top of each other.
Is she on top?
No, I think they're better off sitting up.
Can you hurry up? Because he's going to be looking around for people soon.
They're going to be sitting
Sitting
up.
up then.
Sitting up.
Do something up or something.
Yeah, there's another one here. Sitting up in bed.
Steve, we're taking too long doing this.
Thank you,
Should be out of
mate,
it by now.
that's exactly, but you've got to do it, you know what I mean? Your mate's only getting married one. Should do. Make the bed nice and
Someone coming up the road now.
Look, it doesn't even look like we've been here, does it?
What did you want sellotape for?
I don't know, somebody should sellotape. Oh, I know what I want to sellotape for. Have you got any at home?
Little Jakey, you don't know what's going on, do you?
Quick,
Cross it? Yeah, that's it. Kerry, sellotape. Somebody get the other end.
Steve, I'm going to...
Hang on, how long is this?
18 foot.
It'll go all the way around the bed then, won't it?
Put some tape.
Get it around there, get it around there.
Let's get it central. Get it central. Get Steve's end up. Hold up. And then I'll get up. Oh, and hold in. That's about it, mate.
Stop! This bed is not ready.
I've got one. Steve.
Stick it up there. That end up.
Okay, then.
Shh, there's one waking up.
I'll leave that inside.
Come on, hurry up. Hurry up.
We'll give some other bit, can we? So they know we've been here.
Louise and Stan. Louise, Stan. Louise, Stan. Right, let's go. Yeah, come on.
Kids are upset. Let's go.
You wake him up, leave him in there.
See ya. Karen, can you wave goodbye?